As you have seen, actions may be asynchronous. So what if we wanted to run some code when the action finishes? Suppose that we want to display an alert after adding a product to the cart from the product list. Let's try to add this alert at the end of the method that dispatches the action. So within the product list component, at the end of this method, I'm just going to add an alert saying the cart was updated. Let's check it out in the browser, see what happens. So I'll add a product. So the problem now is that the call to the dispatch method is asynchronous, meaning that it returns instantly, causing the alert to be displayed before the product has been added to the cart. This is especially easy to see because there is a 2-second timeout on the HTTP request that's issued within the action. So what we're looking for is a way to add a callback for when the action finishes, or rather when it commits the mutation. We can quite easily do that by returning a promise within the action. So let's try to do that within the main.js file. And here we have the action, so I'm going to return new promise. And we're going to add the code within a callback function, which takes the resolve and rejects arguments, which are functions that we can invoke. I'll get back to that in a moment, but first let's take all of the code from the action and move it within this callback within the promise. Now that we are returning a promise, we must either resolve or reject it to let any code know when we're done. I'll do that within the success or error callbacks of the HTTP request. So first, this success handler, I'll cut this and change it to have an implementation like this, and then invoke resolve. I'll do the same for the error callback, except that I will of course invoke the reject function instead. And of course, the same down here in the else block. So resolve and rejects. All that's left to do is to make use of this promise when we dispatch the action. So back to the product list component and the add product to cart method, because here I'm going to write .then and then pass an error function as the success handler where I'll move the alert to. Actually, I can just remove the curly brackets. This looks a bit cleaner. Notice that I'm not adding an error callback in this case, but you could do this just fine if you wanted to. Okay, let's repeat the test from before. So add a product to the cart. And now we see that the alert is only displayed when the product has actually been added to the cart, so after the 2-second timeout from the server. Awesome, so now we have a callback for when the action's promise resolves, being when the mutation is committed, and we can then run any code that we want in there.